After Caitlin Clark revealed she was leaving America, the WNBA went completely insane. Now, everyone is freaking out like it's the end of the world, but let's face it, it's too late. Neither Caitlin's fans nor she herself care.
And voiced frustration with the league's officiating, recently telling reporters, quote, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me, and opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with." That's what Caitlin Clark said.
She worked incredibly hard for this team, grew their fan base, increased marketing sales, and generated more buzz for the league than ever before. People commented on every video that they watched because of CC, which is why the WNBA's higher-ups finally realized that their empire was crumbling.
What I am upset about is like, hey man, your meal ticket is under constant attack. There's been dirty plays all season.
To be honest, Clark shouldn't even think about returning since this league doesn't deserve her. You can see why by the way they treated her in just 2 playoff games. After all of her hard work and sweat, how did they compensate her? Let me explain what occurred.
Those guys, they're the racists when really y'all are the racists. The people coming up with excuses to hate Caitlin Clark and the new fan base that she brought.
Since Caitlin Clark was their revenue generator and essentially the only reason viewers were paying attention, the WNBA is currently in full-blown panic mode. To say that she is the league's golden goose would be an understatement. She was essentially their entire farm. When Clark took the court for her regular season finale against the Washington Mystics, it wasn't just a scheduled game. It was the season's highlight.
The Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road. Fever averaged 17,000.
That night, more than 2,711 individuals filled the stadium, setting a record for the most people ever to watch a single WNBA game. No one, certainly not a rookie, had ever attracted such large audiences before. In fact, during her rookie season, she was drawing more than 15,000 fans each game.
The most dominant team in the league. They can't draw 500,000 viewers for a playoff game. Atlanta Dreamers and the New York Liberals. Again, the Liberals. They supposedly have stars. Remember when ESPN claimed that the Liberals had the new Big Three? Dreamers, Liberals. 410,000 viewers. The other game was the Phoenix Masculines and the Minnesota Linker.
But here's where it gets crazy. It wasn't just the fans who were going crazy over her jersey sales. It was a Black Friday sale, and we were talking about the league's top players, rookies and veterans alike. It didn't matter because Clark was outselling everyone. The moment she put on that Fever jersey, it was like instant gold, and every fan wanted a piece of history. Suddenly, the WNBA wasn't just a niche sport tucked away in the sports world. It was a full-on phenomenon, all because of Clark.
But if you're not delivering the product and you're not making the revenue and you're not, giving people the entertainment that they want, then you're not going to make any money and your league is going to suck.
All of a sudden, people who had no idea what the WNBA stood for were hooked to their TVs. Tickets were selling out, and she was discussed on every sports program. Broadcasters fought over who got to show Clark's games in prime time, and even the league's dustiest gear was flying off the shelves like it was running out of stock. Clark was like a one-woman economic boom sponsor, and folks were lining up around the block.
She's the golden goose.
Since she was the driving force behind huge ticket sales and revenue spikes from day one, everyone had an opinion about Caitlin Clark, but things experienced an all-time low during those 2 playoff games that completely crossed the line. Now that she is leaving, the WNBA is essentially staring at a free fall, and why wouldn't they be? Without Clark, they will be left to pick up the pieces, and the fallout will be brutal. Not only was Clark up against opponents, but she was also subjected to egregious fouls, trash language, and simply filthy plays that no other player would tolerate.
She's just not built for the physicality of this league. Yeah, and she's not quick enough to get away from the physicality.
And if you thought it was just a few small arguments, think again. These were coming from some of the loudest voices in the league. This wasn't your typical on-court drama. Rather, it was a full-fledged campaign to destroy her, and it got ugly quickly. First up was Alyssa Thomas, who essentially threw petrol on the fire following the Indiana Fever's thrilling defeat to the Connecticut Sun. In her post-game interview on September 19, 2024, she went straight for the jugular, omitting any discuss-I.
This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league, and she's a rookie.
She went to great lengths to accuse Clark and her supporters of racial bigotry, claiming that the only reason Clark was receiving so much attention was because she is a white athlete succeeding in a sport that is dominated by black athletes.
Honestly, it's been a lot of nonsense. I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. We had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly. And there's no place for it. And
however, things took a nasty turn just one game later in the first round of the playoffs against the Connecticut Sun. If you thought it ended with trash language, you're mistaken. It went directly to something far worse. Clark was ablaze, dazzling the scoreboard by the third quarter with 26 points when during a quick break in the fourth quarter, Carrington made the decision to practically take matters into her own hands. Carrington made her move after breathing down Clark's neck the entire game.
And this woman swats at the basketball and somehow decides to turn her hand down and her fingernails and jab them right into the eye of Caitlin Clark. No foul call. No refs stopping the game to go, is this a flagrant? None of that. Just everybody moved on.
Instead of going for the ball, she went for Clark's face and stabbed him in the eye with her finger. This wasn't a friendly poke. Rather, it was a violent blow that briefly blinded Clark in one eye. The referees might have easily passed for statues. No whistle, no foul. Nothing. She stumbled away, scratching her eye and attempting to shake it off. But did she sit out? Nope. She returned immediately, because that's what she does. She fights even when it seems like the league is ignoring her.
Your biggest star, your meal ticket, the reason why you have relevancy, just got stabbed and assaulted and nothing.
And right when you believe things couldn't get much worse, Game 2 on September 23rd, 2024, featuring Candace Carter, descended into a full-scale attack. Carter, who is notorious for being a little too rough, wasn't merely playing defense. Rather, she was determined to destroy Clark, and she wasn't playing it subtly. She gave Clark a powerful elbow to the ribs halfway through the second quarter, leaving her gasping for air.
What I am upset about is like, hey man, your meal ticket is under constant attack. There's been dirty plays all season.
Fans witnessed it. Carter wasn't finished, though, because later in the fourth quarter, she practically body slammed him to the ground. It looked more like a linebacker tackle than a basketball play, and guess what? There was no foul, no call, just Clark getting up off the court with a look of frustration on her face. It seemed like Carter had been given a get-out-of-jail-free card for the entire game. Everyone watched it, including the commentators and the referees.
It's an attack on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's the wrong face for this league because her fans are so racist. Where have I heard this argument before? Oh, Donald Trump may be fine, but all the MAGA people, they're terrible. They're the deplorable.
And as all of this was happening on the court, Clark was being verbally attacked by those who ought to have been discussing her incredible rookie campaign. The loudest of all of them was none other than Sheryl Swoopes, who spoke candidly about Clark's talent and her record-breaking season just a day after the playoffs ended.
She's got 14,000 followers. And it's really easy to ignore, and most people don't know who she is in the sports world. The only reason why people even know who she is because of Caitlin Clark. And she still only got 14,000 followers on Twitter. She doesn't have much of a brand.
No, she took the low road and called Clark the blonde, blue-eyed American that people allegedly liked, dismissing all of Clark's accomplishments. This effectively suggested that Clark's attractiveness, not her talent, was the sole reason she was receiving so much attention.
Because it's Caitlin Clark and she can't do that game.
Even though Clark was outscoring and outplaying nearly every veteran in the league, Swoopes turned it all into a race and image twist, turning her success into a stereotype that had nothing to do with her play. These weren't just petty remarks or cheap shots. They were intended to destroy Clark and make it appear as though she hadn't earned her spot in the league. The hits weren't just physical. They were personal, intended to take away any respect or legitimacy she had earned, and to give the
I'm simply saying the issue is about marketing versus basketball. The merits of playing basketball compared to the merits of bringing marketing into the equation to influence potential decisions.
Given Caitlin Clark's decision to leave the WNBA and pursue music, what would you do if you were in her position? When she dropped the bombshell on September 26, 2024, just 2 days after the Indiana Fever's playoff catastrophe, Europe not only rocked the league, but completely destroyed it. It seemed like the entire basketball world was watching. Hit Paul Clark didn't mince words when she stated that she needed a vacation from the constant mental strain she endured during her rookie season. Can you blame her for being singled out on the court, being beaten off it, and having no league protection? It wore her down, but it wasn't just the beatings she received from opponents. It was the WNBA's complete inability to support her. Clark felt abandoned in addition to being unprotected. And let's not fool ourselves, her timing couldn't have been worse for the WNBA, which at last saw a spike in all forms of revenue from ticket sales and viewership. To give you an idea of how enormous she was during her debut season, Clark alone attracted over 500,000 fans. Yes, 500,000 people came simply to see her, something the league had never witnessed before.
There were regular season games this season where Caitlin Clark drew more than 1.8 million viewers. However, I hope Kat Engelbert is ready for disappointment because there's a hell of a lot more of it on the way.
Without Clark, those sellout games will resemble high school scrimmages. The sky-high secondary market prices will take a nosedive, and the sponsors who are finally showing interest are most likely already packing their bags. For the Fever, however, things are even worse, and they're facing irrelevance once more. Gainbridge Fieldhouse, which was electrifying every time Clark on the court, will return to being a ghost town, and even nearby businesses that were benefiting from the game day crowds will feel the effects.
Let's put this in its proper perspective. When I think about Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude.